To create a watercolor ombre background, you'll need to have your pencil drawing done and take a moment to erase any of your guidelines that are outside of the main shape of your animal. Once you paint, any lines that you have will be kind of trapped under the paint, so you won't be able to erase them later. So if you don't need to erase them, you're fine. But if you do plan to erase them, do so now before you paint. Then, to do watercolor ombre, you are going to need your tray of watercolor paints. You're going to need a paintbrush with soft bristles, and you will need a large one. So this is the normal one we use, and we actually want a large one. So this is the normal brush, and this is the wash brush. This is the one we want to use today for this project. We're using very, very large, fluffy brush, which we generally don't touch with our fingers, but now we know. Then you need to decide on 2 or possibly 3 colors, and they have to be colors that are related to each other on the color wheel, which means that they have to be in a row on our paint palette here. So you could do purple and then do red, because these are technically in the circle. These are next to each other. And orange, or we could do red, orange, yellow. We could do yellow, orange, green. We could do green, yellow, blue. We could do green, blue, purple. You can do any colors that you want. You could just stick with 2, or you can do up to 3 colors for this ombre. I'm going to do kind of blue, purple, red, just to kind of show you what that's like. So you start with getting your colors wet by squeezing some water from your big fluffy brush into the color. Okay. Then you need to get your brush wet one more time and rub on the color to wake it up. And we're going to keep our painting side to side very smooth today. So I've got the paint in my brush, and now I'm going to brush side to side and all the way off my edges, keeping very, very smooth as I paint. I'm going for a fairly watery color. I'm not doing a super, super intense color. And now I'm going to wash out my brush. I'm going to grab my next color, which in this case is my purple. I'm going to wake it up. And a fairly wide band of that first color. Then I'm going to paint my purple. And I'm going to go back on top of some of my blue and paint. Back and forth like that. And then I'm going to paint even more purple. And I'm going to go right through my animal until I'm about a third way down here. Then I'm going to wash out my brush one last time. Pick up my last color, in my case my red. Rub, 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 rub. Wake up that color. Paint by itself. Paint on top of some of the purple. I'm not going to go all the way back up to where the blue was, but I'm making that mix side to side on my paper, and then I'm going to paint red all by itself, all the way down to wherever the ground is. When you reach the ground, you can stop. You don't have to keep going. Now I need to let this dry, and if there's any weird spots, like up here we got some purple in a weird spot, you can try to smooth some of those out if you need to, but for the most part, that's okay. My whole entire mat can go to the drying rack to help this dry pretty flat. Now that I'm done with my painting, I want to carefully carry my watercolor paints. There is still water in here, so I don't want to tip this. Carry it 2 hands back to the drawer. Rinse out your brush one more time. This brush can go back in the cup or on the tray at your table. And then our water bottle needs its cap on. Take it to the sink, dump it out, and refill. I'm ready to draw the black silhouette of my animal. Using my Mr. Sketch marker, I'm going to draw the shapes, being careful about the outside edges. So if I've got texture lines, I want to make sure I'm including those. Once I've got those outer lines done, I can color in my animal completely. And the only parts I have to worry about are those outer edge lines. If you go slow, even if it seems like your marker is running low on, well, marker, You should still be able to get a nice black unless it's truly out. Let's please use up all of our tulle before we replace it. Once your animal is all the way colored in, you'll also want to color in the ground. Make sure your animal is not floating and the ground touches their feet. Nothing looks stranger than a flying buffalo. Again, if you've got any textures, make sure those are included. I've got my frame, I've got my picture, and I've got my glue stick. First thing I want to do is just double check that everything is going to fit when I put it on here. If you notice there's any places where it's not quite all the way up to the edge, no matter what you do, you may wish to go back in and add a little more marker before you glue this on, so that way we don't get glue on the painting part. But when you're happy with it, you flip this over, you open your glue stick, twist it up just a little bit, and then you make sure you get all the way to the corners. The way to make sure that your glue gets glued all the way down is to put it in the space and glue the edge and a little bit off the edge. Yes, you're going to get a little glue in the white area of your picture, but that's great because you're going to get your middle of your painting stuck down as well. And now I'm going to flip this over, line it up where I want it, and rub down. If you work quick and quiet, you should have it stuck down there. And it's beautiful and ready to be done. If you're not happy with like an edge like that, you can go in with a bit more marker.